Coming up here, the amazing story of Penn State cheerleader Paige Rockey as she recovers from her 5-story fall.
And find out the new living option that Penn State is offering to students on campus. The Centre County Report starts right now.
Welcome to the Centre County Report. I'm Allie Ingersoll.
And I'm Jeremy Kahn. Some spots around Centre County saw icy conditions this morning, and local school districts opened on a 2-hour delay. But a freezing rain advisory has now ended. Let's get an update from meteorologist Michael Page. Mike?
That's right, Jeremy. The freezing rain advisory is over. We're switching over to just plain rain right now everywhere, and that's what most places across Centre County saw. We got a viewer picture earlier today showing the wet conditions on I-99, and we also had some reports of some light icing as close as Boalsburg, also up in Potter County. But with temperatures now rising to 34 degrees, we're seeing everything turn back over to plain rain. Just a chilly day ahead with more off-and-on showers as this moisture streams in from the southwest. Everything in terms of wintry weather is over for now. Warmer weather moving in. More details in weather. Allie?
Thanks, Michael. Controversy continues to swirl around Penn State's Chi Omega sorority for a controversial photo posted online from the chapter's Halloween party. The picture shows people wearing sombreros and fake mustaches and included signs saying things like, "We'll mow lawn for weed and beer." The Penn State chapter was put on probation yesterday by the Chi Omega National Chapter. University President Rodney Erickson released a statement about the students involved, saying they convey either a lack of awareness about the human condition and human sensitivities, or worse yet, disdain for the thoughts, feelings, histories, and experiences of others.
After a 39-foot fall, a broken pelvis, brain trauma, and more than 6 weeks of recovery, Penn State cheerleader Paige Rockey is out of the hospital and back home. She talked with the reporters for the first time this week. Adrienne DiPiazza has more on her incredible recovery.
It's a Christmas homecoming she would have never expected. After surviving a 5-story fall and severe injuries, Paige Rockey doesn't remember much from that day.
Before the accident, we had a cookout for my brother's gymnastics team. It was a family weekend, and we all went to the cookout, and that's the last thing I remember pretty much. That was earlier in the afternoon.
Her recovery is nothing short of miraculous. Paige went from not being able to speak or walk to doing both. She practices walking and everyday movements like getting into a car. What made all this possible? Depending on those who supported her.
I needed every single person that rallied behind me, and they pushed me through it, and they're the reason I'm here and okay.
Paige's parents say the prayers are what made the difference.
She had not been talking yet. About the same time I was praying, she said her first words. And he surprised me with a phone call with her saying, "Hi, Mom."
We believe that those prayers have been answered, and the evidence is sitting right here next to me. And it just seems to be a miraculous recovery.
Paige was first treated in Altoona, then in Louisville, Kentucky, her hometown. Oh, no. With more rehab ahead, Paige's next goal is to walk without her walker and just get back to being a regular college student.
I keep my eyes set on what I have for the future and just keep going towards that.
Paige says she hopes to return to Penn State for the fall semester next year.
Now, the latest in the criminal cases against former Penn State officials Graham Spanier, Tim Curley, and Gary Schultz. Their preliminary hearings and the Curley and Schultz trial have been postponed indefinitely. The three were scheduled to appear at the Dauphin County Courthouse next Thursday, but a judge said he needed more time to review pending motions. The Curley-Schultz January 7th trial in Harrisburg is also delayed.
In related news, Jerry Sandusky is appealing to have his pension reinstated. The state employees retirement system pulled his $59,000 a year pension in October following his sentence for child sexual abuse. His attorney wrote in a letter to the system's board to argue the former football coach should not have his benefits revoked because he was not a university employee when the new retirement rules were passed in 2004.
Penn State President Rodney Erickson outlined the Sandusky scandal cost this week. He says the scandal will cost more than $83 million. The university loaned the athletic department funds for the $60 million NCAA fine. Athletics will pay back the money over 30 years with what Erickson says is a rather significant interest rate. University insurance will cover costs for Graham Spanier, Gary Schultz, and Tim Curley, and Penn State's reserve funds will handle other costs from the scandal.
A new and potentially controversial special living option will be available at Penn State starting next fall. Reporter Eric Vicentainer talked with the Penn State community about what's on the way.
There are currently 23 unique special living options at University Park. and the first one appeared in the 1970s. The most recent is the Ally House, an option for the LGBTA community. This housing opportunity will fill the third floor in the Waltz Hall on the west side of campus. A requirement for that option is to further their education.
More of our special living options that continue and are always doing well and giving students the most comprehensive experience has been the academics.
The idea was generated from a group of students who say they want to live in a space where they could feel comfortable and welcome despite their sexual orientation.
Having a space where they can at least go home and not worry about how they express themselves, about being the victim of hate speech.
Less than a year from now, this third floor in the Waltz Hall will be dedicated to the LGBTA students, as well as to sexuality and gender study minors.
Students' opinions differ on this issue.
They are boys and they don't want to live with a gay boy, which, I mean, I'm not saying I'm forward or against, but they don't like it. And that happens, and they are not comfortable, so they ask to be switched.
And as long as you feel comfortable with a group of people, I don't really think it should matter what your orientation is.
One of the most controversial points brought up by students is the room arrangement. Penn State Housing says it will continue as usual with a same gender-based arrangement. In University Park, I'm Eric Vicentiner for the Santa County Report.
If the program has a popular turnout, Penn State will assign an extra floor for the Ally Special Living option in Watts Hall. For several years, Penn State has had a big problem with crows, and getting rid of them is a lot of work.
Reporter Gina Figale gives us an inside look on how to deal with the birds.
Penn State's University Park campus is scenic, friendly, and welcoming. But there's also something creepy here. 2,000 black crows that have now made campus their home.
We would really like to encourage the crows to go somewhere else. I would think maybe Antarctica would be nice.
Beginning in the early 19th century, these birds flocked by the hundreds of thousands to Bellefonte. Moving onto Penn State's campus just recently, the Office of Physical Plant has heard complaints from students and faculty about the groups of crows. Their goal? To create a safe and clean environment for everyone.
The real problem is sanitation. The crow droppings gather on the sidewalks and just make an unsanitary mess all over campus.
Old Main used to be home to the entire student population, but over the past few weeks, it's become home to thousands of crows. Penn State has been doing its part to scare away these crows, and they promise they're going to do it in a humane way.
No animals are harmed in this operation like they say in the movies. We wait till dark, the crows land and they roost in the trees. We then fire flare guns with the bangers. The bangers make a loud noise that causes the crows to fly into the air. This is a crow effigy. It's basically a fake crow. We hang them. We hang the crow effigies upside down in the trees. The crows go to return to the trees the next day, and they see these babies hanging in the trees, and to a crow it looks like a dead buddy. So it scares the crows and they don't come back.
OPP hopes this is the last year they'll have to use the flares to get rid of the birds. Reporting in University Park, I'm Gina Figale for the Center County Report.
OPP wants the public to know that the loud noises they hear aren't harmful and they're just to scare the crows away from campus.
Well, it's chilly today, but with temperatures in the mid-60s earlier this week, it's hard to believe it's December and the start of ski season. But I trekked out to Tussey Mountain to check out the December slopes. If you head out to Tussey Mountain to ski or snowboard, you'll get anything but an icy reception. Even in the early parts of December, there's not a flake in the sky. Although the chairlifts here at Tussey Mountain are completely empty now, just wait a couple of weeks, says the staff, and it'll be completely full and the mountain will be covered in snow. Operations manager Bennett Hoffman says no snow is no problem, as long as the conditions are right.
A lot of people look in their backyard and if they don't see snow, they don't think about skiing, but our snowmaking operations, if the temperatures are right, we can blast a lot of snow. Despite an average of 40 inches of snow per winter in central Pennsylvania, last season's below average weather only delivered roughly 60 days of skiable snow. But Tom Metalavich, director of winter operations at the mountain, says he didn't receive an avalanche of complaints.
Last year was a tough year for us. I mean, people were understanding. I wouldn't say people complained up to us about the snow. I think complained about the fact that it just wasn't cold last year and we weren't able to make a lot of snow. So this isn't really that unusual to not have snow on the hill, but I'm sure we'd like to be making snow here, you know, within the next week or so.
And whoever said the ski business was snow joking matter.
Well, we asked if anybody has a good snow dance to go out and do it.
The staff at Tussey Mountain says they hope to have about 2 slopes open by Christmas.
Now, what about our weekend weather? Meteorologist Michael Page has a forecast coming up.
Also ahead, the holiday spirit is spreading across Centre County. We'll show you how people are helping their neighbors. And a unique breed of dog that most people overlook. One organization is trying to find them a home in Centre County.
The holiday season is underway and the spirit of giving is already spreading throughout Centre County. Reporter Kat Janisco found out it's already ringing a bell for some.
Holiday donations. They happen every year, and it seems like more people in Centre County are catching the giving bug this holiday season.
It's a very strong feeling in our church, and it makes us feel good.
I really care about people who don't have homes, and I feel really bad for them.
If you've walked the streets of State College, you've probably seen or heard the volunteers of the Salvation Army. With the iconic red donation kettle and small bells that ring for miles, they're pretty hard to miss.
The Salvation Army has been bringing joy to children and families for nearly 150 years, and it isn't just kettles and bells that bring in the bulk of donations. You'd be surprised in the difference that one toy can make.
I remember when I was a kid, you talk about sentiment, all I wanted for Christmas was a flashlight. Now this is back in the 50s, but when I got up in the next morning, there wrapped up inside, Christmas wrapping paper was a flashlight. It was the best feeling of all to have a flashlight. So I kind of view that as a child.
There are other organizations relying on your help this season too. Some volunteers go to the extreme to help out. David Jones is dressed up as a Star Wars stormtrooper to attract attention and donations.
When I either make a donation or someone makes a donation to something like the Interfaith Human Services, it restores my faith in humanity just a little bit at a time.
There are plenty of places that offer a helping hand this time of the year in Centre County, and there are still those sounding bells. They help a little too. In State College, I'm Kat Janisco for the Centre County Report.
If you'd like to donate or volunteer this holiday season, you can get more information on the State College Salvation Army website, salvationarmystatecollege.org.
Well, Penn State University Park has been recognized as one of America's most bicycle-friendly campuses. The League of American Bicyclists has given Penn State its bronze recognition for bicycle friendliness. The university is one of 44 in the United States recognized by the league for being friendly to bikers. Penn State is named one of 2 bicycle-friendly universities in PA by the organization.
This weekend's weather not so bicycle friendly, unfortunately, with lots of showers moving in. At least it will be on the mild side again, with temperatures climbing back up into the 50s. But like I said, we will be dealing with some wet weather, especially tonight and then again Sunday afternoon. I think we get a little break in between there, but still cloudy and maybe drizzly throughout, not pleasant by any means. But we will be watching a cool down for early next week, making it feel more like December. Right now it's 34 degrees in State College, damp and chilly with clouds and some showers as well. We'll have that off and on all day today as those showers continue to rotate in from the west. But whereas earlier we had some light freezing rain showing up with the pinks here, especially in northeastern Pennsylvania, I think the rest of the day will feature just plain old off and on rain showers. So yes, damp and dreary, but all these showers are actually helping to bring in some milder conditions as we go towards Saturday. Highs will be making it into the 50s as we go through the weekend. And that's where those temperatures are now, but for right now, we're heading up for 40 later on this afternoon. Still somewhat chilly for this time of year, but we have that warm up to look forward to. Finally, we'll get through a couple of systems that bring some showers and those warmer conditions. As we look towards Saturday, one storm moves off that brings us to showers tonight. There's that little break before we get into a second disturbance that will bring in some showers for the second half of Sunday. Even Monday looks wet at this point with a front coming through. For today, though, we'll still see those off and on showers. High temperatures in the upper 30s to lower and even middle 40s in some cases, but pretty drab across the entire center region. The 7-day forecast, though, does show some light at the end of the tunnel. Here are the showers for the weekend off and on. Again, wettest late Sunday, 50s and then 40s by Sunday. A front comes through Monday, ushering in much cooler temperatures for the middle of the week, maybe some flurries on Tuesday as a coastal storm scoots by. That's your latest forecast for right now. Have a great weekend.
Man's best friend the bond dogs share with their masters is indescribable, but there's a lonely breed out there that struggles to get adopted and discover that bond. Reporter Kirsten Bliznick spent a day with these dogs in Center County.
They're amazing companion animals.
They're misunderstood, and they're very different from any other dog that anyone would ever own.
Born to run, that's what greyhounds are. For about the first 2 years of their lives, these 42-mile-per-hour dogs know of racing and only racing. But what happens once their racing careers are over?
We've adopted over 2,000 greyhounds from the racing tracks.
Nittany Greyhounds is a nonprofit organization that rescues and boards retired racing greyhounds. Organization President Ellen Aschenbrenner dedicated her life to helping these dogs find loving homes.
We bring them here to our kennel, and we have an adoption process. And they live here until they become pets for adoptive families.
They don't understand anything about a home or how to be loved.
Missy here has already been in a foster home with children and small animals. She is still waiting to find her forever home, but until then, she's having a pretty good time.
We tend to become attached to them, but when we find the right family for them, we're really happy.
Ellen and Tony worked for 10 years to get the kennel so they could fully dedicate their lives to the dogs.
We're just trying to do our mission, and that's the bottom line here. The greyhounds, that's the bottom line.
In Port Matilda, I'm Kirsten Bliznick for the Center County Report.
Nittany Greyhounds plans fundraisers and events to increase awareness about greyhounds.
Coming up next in sports, Penn State Wrestling prepares for its matchup this Sunday against Indiana. Find out what Coach Cale Sanderson had to say about the Hoosiers. And Penn State Women's Volleyball continues its run toward another national title. We'll tell you about their upcoming challenger, Kentucky, when the Center County Report rolls on. Big football news just coming out today. Penn State and Pitt have announced that they'll add more games to their renewed football rivalry. They already announced games in 2016 and 17. Now they'll also play in 2018 and 19. The Penn State wrestling team has a big weekend here in Happy Valley. I caught up with the team to preview this Sunday's match at Rec Hall against the Indiana Hoosiers.
The Nittany Lion Grapplers have had a terrific season so far. They are 2-0 in dual matches, thrashing both Lehigh and West Virginia, and had 5 champions at last Sunday's Nittany Lion Open. But Coach Cale Sanderson understands that this conference is one of the best in the nation.
So you got to be ready for the Big Ten. I mean, there's great teams and there's up-and-coming teams, and they're just all solid programs.
The Nittany Lions, who have won the past 2 Big Ten titles, have to start defending their crown on Sunday versus Big Ten rival Indiana. And redshirt sophomore Andrew Alton, who is ranked number 5 at the 149-pound weight class, is excited for a challenging Big Ten schedule.
Ready to go. I'm ready to be sitting out last year, maybe really want to step in this year and compete. And I just love competing, especially with Penn State St. Laurent.
The Nittany Lions and Hoosiers match starts at 2 p.m. at Rec Hall on Sunday. The Penn State women's volleyball team is in the Sweet 16. The Nittany Lions will take on the Kentucky Wildcats tonight at 5 p.m. at Purdue's Mackey Arena. And as we can see, also in West Lafayette is Purdue versus Minnesota. The Golden Gophers are ranked number 9, but the Boilermakers are at home in Mackey Arena. And Oregon and BYU and Washington and Nebraska will do battle in Omaha, Nebraska. Penn State is aiming for its 5th national title in just 6 years, but the Nittany Lions have not faced the Wildcats since the 80s. Sophomore Micah Hancock still thinks the Nittany Lions have things to improve on.
Just the tips, the roll shots, we got to work a little more on, which is what we did in practice, and just playing in different teams. So going into Kentucky, we had to scout them really hard and see what they were about.
Penn State outside hitter Ariel Scott knows Kentucky's offense is dangerous.
Kentucky's not a team we've played before, I mean, since I've been here at least, and they have a really fast offense, and it's different than anything we've seen in the Big Ten, so we're going to have to communicate a lot, talk about hitters, stuff like that.
The Penn State men's basketball team is looking to bounce back after a tough defeat Wednesday night at LaSalle in Philadelphia. The Nittany Lions lost 82-57 on a superb shooting night by the Explorers. Tyreek Duren scored 29 points and went 4 of 7 from the three-point arc. As a team, the Explorers shot 49% from the field. The Nittany Lions face the Army Black Knights tomorrow at the Bryce Jordan Center. The Nittany Lions are led by redshirt junior Jermaine Marshall, who is averaging 15 points a game. Tip-off time at the BJC is set for 4 p.m. And after a long-fought fall, the Penn State Nittany Lion football seniors are planning a trip to Atlantic City from January 5th to January 8th. The Rise and Rally Bowl event to honor the team is happening because Penn State cannot attend a bowl game due to NCAA sanctions that came down on the team in July. Rise and Rally is an organization made up of former Letterman and fans that helped gather a big crowd outside of the Latch football building before their first early morning practice back in the summer. The Rise and Rally Bowl is still on despite review from Penn State's compliance office. That's it for sports this week. The Center County Report will be right back.
If you're interested in hearing some holiday music this weekend, you can head out to State College Area High School. Winterfest 2012 is tomorrow at 7 p.m. in the high school North Building Auditorium. The concert will feature Ann Sullivan, the Chamber Singers of State College High, and the Pennsylvania Center Orchestra. You can buy tickets online or at the door. So that's it for today's Center County Report. For more news, go to our website, centercountyreport.com.
You can also follow us for breaking news on Twitter at Center County REP, and check us out on Facebook as well. Have a great weekend and stay dry.